Hey guys, how are you? My name is Santia Fox. I'm an interior designer. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm whatever you need me to be in the moment. But right now, for the purpose of this channel, I am an interior designer and I talk about everything interior design. I love what I do. So if interior design is something that you do or are interested in, then I think that this is the right channel for you. I'm going to be putting out content like twice a week. So hit the subscribe button. I would listen to me a little bit more before you do that. But if you do like what you hear today, at least hit the like button and considering coming back and hear my other content as I put out more and more content for you. All right, so if you're with me, let's get started. Today, we're going to be talking about 7 tips that you can use as a person. And it doesn't matter whether or not you're an interior designer, not an interior designer, whether or not you're going through a transition in your life, you're starting a new career. 7 tips that I use as an interior designer on every project that you can implement to redesigning the life that you want. As an interior designer, we spend our days dreaming up different products as well as spaces for our customers to be able to enjoy. During that process, we have several steps that we go through for each project, and not one project is the same, but for the majority of the projects, we go through these different steps so that we can get to the end goal of creating or recreating that space that we were hired to do for our client. So we ask ourselves a series of questions. We go through different processes so that we can recreate and redesign the space so that it functions differently. And today I want to share those steps with you that you can apply in any area of your life. Again, it doesn't matter if you're starting a new career. It doesn't matter what stage you are in your life. You can apply these concepts. So let's talk about it. Step number 1. One of the things that we do when we're showing up for an interior design project, we're wanting to know, okay, why is it that we're here? Oftentimes when a client gives us a call, they have a problem. They have something that they're trying to change. They have a problem that they're trying to resolve, and we're basically their problem solver. They know that there is something wrong with this space, or they know that this space no longer serves them. So they are trying to recreate that space, and they need a professional like myself to come in and to help them to envision and recreate that space because it may be beyond their scope of work. So one of the things that I ask, okay, why is it that I'm here? What has caused you to now need our services, and what has caused us to be in the space? So we ask why. Same thing as it relates to your life, and as you are on your journey of redesigning your life, I want you to ask yourself, why? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I now at this place where I'm feeling uneasy? Why? Because in order for you to, first of all, make a change, there has to be an indicator of why. If not, then there's no change needed. It's not going to prompt you. So something happens on the inside of us now where we are now prompted to ask ourselves, okay, why? You know, that little nudging, that little voice, whatever you want to call it, your conscience, the spirit, whatever you want to call it. There is something on the inside of you that's like, okay, something is happening. I'm not feeling good about this. So you have to ask yourself why. All right. So now after you have understand, okay, like why, we now need to go to the what. Okay. So what we do as it relates to the redesigning your own life, now that you have identified, okay, why, the second step to redesign your own life is to state precisely the what, okay? So you have to define it. What does define means? Define means to state precisely. So now that you have identified the why, we now need to go into the what, okay? For example, why do I not like the job that I'm at? One of the things I also do, not only am I an interior designer, but I'm also a real estate agent. So when I first received my real estate license about 6 years ago, I was with a company that I really liked, but you know, up until a year ago, I wanted a change. I felt like something wasn't, I was a little bored, honestly. I wanted something different. You know, ever since I got my real estate license, I was kind of like with the same company. So I really wanted like a change. So it was nothing that was happening at that particular company for me to go ahead and switch over, but I kind of felt a little nudging, like I wanted to start something different, you know? So I asked myself, well, why is it that I'm feeling this way? And for me, the why was I was not feeling fulfilled. Okay. So once I asked for the why, I now needed to find out what the what was. Okay. What was it that I was not being fulfilled about? Was it because I was not generating enough leads? Was it because I got too complacent, or I knew the area too well? Or was I not feeling challenged enough? So as you are taking on these different steps and you're navigating yourself through the process of the why and now entering the what stage, one of the things we do as an interior designer is we ask our clients, okay, what is it that you want to change? You know, sometimes they don't even know. Sometimes I don't even know. That's why we're exploring and we're going through these phases of asking these questions, asking why. Once we understand the why, we're moving into the what. And that's what I want you to do too. That's part of the design process. In this particular case, we're not designing a house, we're designing your life. I'm designing my life. I had to go through these steps in order for me to redesign my life, for me to get to where it is that I want it to be. So I'm helping you in that process, because now when I look at my life, I love it. You know, it's not perfect, but it's perfect for me. And I've even learned how to embrace the imperfections, and we'll talk about that later. Okay. So now that we have first step, as I stated, how. Second step is defining the what. Okay. Once you have defined the what, we're going to go into the third step of redesigning your life. So the third step of redesigning the life that you want is to take inventory. Taking inventory means evaluating where you are and take the necessary steps that you need to get to where you need to get to. One of the things we do as an interior designer is we take inventory of what our clients have. So once we have identified, okay, why was I called to this particular project? What is it that my client wants to change? Now I take inventory of the space where I am studying. What is it that they have? Is this going to be something that we're starting from scratch? Do they have anything that they want to keep? Or is this going to be like a new project where we're scrapping and we're repurposing everything that they have, or donating it to charity or a project or something like that? So we take inventory of the space, we take inventory and figure out, okay, what is it that they have that we can repurpose, and what is it that we're going to need? Basically, we do a measurement in a sense, and not like a physical measurement, but taking inventory is, okay, it's kind of like doing a mental thing of how long is it going to take me to get there, depending on my inventory and how much do I need to go ahead and get this done. Okay. So for example, when I decided to go ahead, as I told you, I'm a real estate agent and an interior designer. But when I decided to go ahead and move firms, I had to research, okay, I had to take inventory. What is it that I have right now? What is it that I'm looking for in the new company that I feel no longer fulfilled with the previous company? And what is, and how long is it going to take me to get there? Like from point A to point B, based on what is it that I need? If I'm going with a new company, I don't have to rebrand myself, but I do have to take on the identity of the new company, because it's a different office, it's a different culture. They just kind of do things a little differently. So I had to take inventory and make sure that this is something that I really wanted to do based on the inventory. So I didn't have to change a lot, but I did have to change the brand and that I represented, basically. Okay. So now, after you have taken inventory, now you have to do your research on the cost. For example, if you're a student who is wanting to go to school, you're contemplating, for example, starting interior design class, and you're like me, 40 years old. My kids are grown. Do I really want to go back to school? or if I do and I've made the decision, I've gone through the why, I've gone through the what, I've taken inventory. Now I'm going to go through the cost in a sense of, okay, how much is it going to cost me to go to school? When I wanted to switch real estate firms, I had to ask myself, okay, how much is it going to cost me to switch? Am I going to save money by switching to the new firm, or it's going to cost me a little bit more money? If it's going to cost me a little bit more money, is it worth it? In my opinion, if you're going to make the switch, that's part of the process of realizing whether or not it is worth it for you, because cost sometimes is not money, it's time. By switching to this new real estate firm, am I going to cultivate and start new relationships? Do I really want to do that? That's part of the taking inventory. Okay, what does that inventory look like? It means creating new relationships. Well, in my why, part of the why was I was not feeling fulfilled at the previous one. I felt like I've gone as high as I could possibly in that particular season in my life, where now I wanted to do a switch. And the cost for me, I was okay with paying the cost of, I wanted to get to new people. I wanted to do real estate in a new area. It challenged me to go to other areas that I was not familiar with to get to know that real estate on that side of town, where before I was very much so on near my home and the surrounding area, where I didn't really travel too much outside of that area. So going with the new brokerage would force me to kind of travel outside of my comfort zone and get to know new areas. And because of that, I was able to gain new clients, cultivate new relationships, create friendships that I would have not had I not taken a plunge to do that. So for me, once I evaluated the cost, I was willing to do that. So once we taken an inventory of what is it that our clients want, what they have versus what they want, we put together a quote for them and we show them the cost. Now, based on what is it's going to cost for our clients, it determines whether or not they want to go ahead and move forward with that. You know what I mean? So because sometimes you can want a whole bunch of stuff until now you put it on paper and you're like, okay, wait, this is how much it's going to cost me. I need to scale back a bit. How many times have we done that? I know I have. So as it relates to redesigning your own life, as I was saying, how much is it going to cost you to design the life that you want to have, the life that you want to see for yourself? And whatever the cost is, only you can determine what that cost is. Is it worth it? You know what I'm saying? Depending on what it is, it's your life. In my opinion, we only have one life to live. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. I don't know whether or not we have other lives. I don't know if I'm going to die and be reincarnated. I don't know, honestly. But what I do know is I'm in the present. I'm in the moment. I have one life. And if I am blessed to see next year or the next few years that's coming up, then I want to redesign some things in my life so that it can look a certain way, so that I can invoke those emotions that I'm looking for and want to be able to live out on a daily basis. Okay, so once we have gone through number one, the how, number two, we have defined the what, number three, we have taken inventory, number four, we have done the cost. Okay, are you willing to pay the cost? Because I know that I was willing to pay the cost, and I paid the cost. I heard someone say, you want to be the boss, you have to pay the cost to be the boss. Okay, and it's true, bitch. Yes, it is. All right, guys. So the fifth step to designing the life that you want is to develop a plan. So the word develop. So developing a plan means coming up with a practical implementation. Developing a plan means coming up with a practical implementation of an idea. It's not enough basically to simply have an idea, but you have to develop a plan. One must develop an actual mental model of how much such an idea might be made. Okay, what does that mean? All right, developing a plan. So before diving into an interior design project, for me, it is crucial to develop a concept that basically will guide my client through the entire process. So the concept or the foundation for creating a cohesive, visually designing, inspiring type project is to now develop. Okay, so again, as I was saying, Once we have developed the how, the why, the what, once we have, okay, now come up with the cause, now it's time to develop the plan. How are we basically going to get from point A to point B? You know, again, let's talk about my the real estate firm that I was with. I had to now put a plan together on when I was going to go ahead and switch over to the new company. I couldn't just do it. I had to develop a plan. Timing was everything as part of that plan. So in developing the plan, that's going to take some time. So as you are redesigning your life, basically, and putting everything into motion, now it's time for you, the motion part, putting it into motion part is the developing process. It's time for you to write those things down, develop it, play those scenarios out. How much time is it going to take you? What time of the year can you start? Are you going for a new career? Okay, and when are you going to start looking? If you're going to be starting a new school, okay, we know that school starts from this time to this time, this time to this time. Is it going to be this year or is it next year? Will you be able to save some money and go to school full time and then supplement that income? So that's part of developing the plan, listing out the steps basically that you're going to need to go ahead and get to that next step, because it's not enough to just talk about it. Okay, once you've done your research and you realize, okay, this is what it is, this is how much it's going to be, how now am I going to get there? Okay, because you can't just dream it up. You're not going to go to bed and then wake up one day and then boom, you're there. Okay, the next step, the sixth step, basically, after you have came up and you developed the plan, and let me know, guys, in a comment whether or not you want me to talk about the development process, especially like as an interior designer. One of the things we do, as I told you in the beginning, we put together like a plan. We develop, me and my team, we sit down and we discuss, we develop, we put the team players into play. And that brings me into step number 6 is support. Okay, once you, in redesigning that the life you want, no one is an island by themselves. I did not get to where I am today, and I'm very grateful for where I am today, but I didn't get there by myself. I had support. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my friends, my colleagues, the people who do what I do. I'm even grateful for you guys, because you're the reason why I am doing this. You're the reason why I have created this channel, because I wanted a platform where I'm able to talk to many more people. I wanted to go outside the reach that I was able to touch on a regular basis and go further, because I have so much in me that I want to share with you guys, and I'm so excited to do that. But anyway, I digress. Support. You're going to need support to be able to get this done. Now, for us as an interior designers, our support people are our architects, our contractors, our clients, and even our colleagues, our vendors, people who specialize in woodworking, our subs, people who specialize in crafts, a specific craft that we need to go ahead and bring this project to life. Because I'm not going to go ahead and put a nail in the wall and hang sheetrocks and do mud and all of that. I mean, I could do it, but it may not look that well, and I'm sure my clients wouldn't like it either. So I'd rather hire a professional. So in redesigning your life, though, the support may be your parents, the support may be your spouse, your loved one, your siblings, your teachers, it can be anyone you need it to be. If you're going back to school, that support is your teachers. If you're at work, the support might be your colleagues or someone that is working in the field that you want to work in, or it might even be an influencer, a content creator. If you're seeing someone online living a life that you kind of want to aspire to get to, that's your support too. They may not know you, but they're creating the content for people like us, for people like you. You know what I mean? So that's the 6th step, is support. You can't do this on your own. Seek out wisdom. Go to your pastor. Do something. You just won't be. Talk to someone. Talk to your dog. I know sometimes I talk to my dog. I mean, he looks at me so puzzled because he has no idea what I'm saying. But the fact that I'm getting it out to him, I think that he does a little bit, because we just are close like that. But anyway, the fact that I'm getting it out just kind of helps me so in that moment, He is my support. Call me crazy, I don't care, but it is what it is. All right, guys. So the very last step to designing the life that you want to execute for yourself is execute. Once you have understood the how, once you have understood the why, once you have defined the what, once you have taken inventory, once you have did the cost, okay, now it's time to execute. Okay, once you have developed the plan, it's time to take that plan that you spent months, possibly years developing, and it's time to put it into action. And let me go back to develop real quick too. Sometimes developing a plan takes a season, you know what I mean? And the season, guys, is not like the season, the weather outside. I'm talking about the season in your life can last for years, but just make sure that you stay on track and you're developing that plan. The executing process as well can be for a season, and no one can tell you what that season is. I'm hoping that you kind of have an idea based on the research that you've done, but now it's time to execute. As an interior designer, once we have sat down with the clients and we've developed a plan and we've understood what is it that they're looking for, and we have put together a visual, a mood board for them, and a visual board where they're able to see, and we've gotten their approval, now it's time to execute. We've interviewed the contractors, we know who we're going with, we've interviewed the architect, I have my design team, I have my trades on board. Now it's time to execute. It's time to go ahead and go into project management mode, put the calendar together, get started. There's steps to getting started, especially, for example, if we're building a house. I mean, you know, we have to go through the permitting process. We have to dig the foundation. We have to add the plumbing. Certain things just have to be there. We can't just go ahead and start with the roof first. There's steps that we have to take, you know, from the foundation, and then you build it on up. You start from the bottom and then you build that baby on up. It's the same thing with you. It's the same thing as you're executing your plan. You started from the bottom. You started with step number 1. You started with why. Now you're at step number 7. You're executing that plan, okay? And execution may take, again, 3 months. It may take 3 days. Sometimes executing is just you making a decision to go ahead and get started. That's execution, in my opinion. Get started. You know, don't allow another day, don't allow another moment to go by where you're still stuck in that same place. I challenge you today to go ahead and get unstuck. Get unstuck. Start with something. Start with small. I know when I wanted to start my channel, it took me years because I was kind of paralyzed in fear a little bit, because it was like, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. I gave so many excuses of why I couldn't get started. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm doing it this year. I will not allow another year to go by and I am not putting out my first video. Will I be perfect at it? I'm sure I'll get better later. I encourage you to do the same thing. Comment down below. What is it that you want to go ahead and challenge this year? What have you figured out? What is it that you are sick and tired of? As I stated, you don't like it, so you want to go ahead and change it. So what is it that you want to change this year? I heard Maya Angelou say, and I've read this several times in her books, if you don't like it, then change it. If you can't change it, then guess what? Change your attitude about it. And I'm paraphrasing, but you can go look up that Maya Angelou quote. And I live by that. If there's something in my life that I don't quite like, because again, my life and your life is not perfect. Our life is just not perfect. If it is perfect, hey, God bless you. That's what I'm talking about. I want to strive to be like you. But my life is not perfect. Well, guess what? I'm changing my attitude about it, because perspective is everything. Change your perspective about it. And if you change your perspective about it, I'm a big believer that everything else will fall in line, because you've changed how you see it. There is one way. There is more than one way to see something. Perspective is everything. When I learned, and I'm teaching my children this now about perspective, because sometimes the grass is greener on the other side, or sometimes the grass is already green, you know, trying to make it greener it's already green, you know what I mean? So it's all about perspective. I read one time in an email is the difference between flower and weeds is your perspective about it, how you see it. And that is so true, because sometimes I see some weeds and I'm like, is that a weed or is that a flower? And in that moment I'm like, you know what, it doesn't even matter, it's beautiful. So I'm just gonna let it be. I'm not even gonna put a name to it because I'm just gonna let it be. All right, guys, so that's it. That's all I have. If you let me, I can go ahead and ramble about this forever, because this is a topic that is very dear for me. So let me know what you guys think, okay? So let me know, again, what is it that you're trying to change this year? What is it that you don't like that you want to change? I love you guys. I hope to see you on the next episode. So let me know what you think. Talk to you soon. Peace. Have you never been to my channel? Never been.